Alright, welcome back to JYR Trades. This is the third and final video that I'm doing today of the last 3 days. Now the last 3 days I have not been doing any videos because I've been out of town. Decided to take my family out for a vacation to SeaWorld and had a great time out there. Okay, but I realized that I had to do the video journaling once I got back home to discuss what happened each and every day. I did take a trade on this particular day on Monday. I actually took 2 trades and both of them were successful. I took one on Tuesday. I did not take one today on Wednesday because pretty much I was driving, and so as you know, driving and trading do not combine, right? Alright, with that said, let's go ahead and go over Mondays. Okay, now Mondays, one thing I have discovered is that Mondays can be very unique. Very rarely are we going to get a Monday where we have an initiative, an expansion, a true repair day. Remember that Mondays, it's digesting all the news that happened over the weekend, and so if anything, Monday's going to be a day where you need to be extra careful. And one thing that I've learned in this journey is that on days where you need to be careful, particularly on rotational days, you need to be extra careful, not treat it like a trend day, not try to force it. Okay, because when you try to force a rotational day, more than likely you're gonna get stopped out, and that's the last thing we want, of course, right? Alright, with that said, let's go ahead and jump into the video. Okay, where did market open? That is the question here. That is the question of the day, right? So first things first, where is New York value here? New York value is right here. We got this white line and this white line. This area right here, that's let's see how much it is. A good 230 points right there, give or take. All right, price has decided to open outside of it, okay, and above it. So technically, when you look at it, that definition, we're looking for a long move. But just because it's showing structure above New York value, it doesn't mean that we automatically assume that we have to go for a long trend or a long initiative, okay, or a long expansion for that matter. What we got to look at is the overall picture and then how it behaves. Once New York opens, we have to look at the behavior and has it given us permission to actually take the trade that we believe is going to happen. Now the other thing that we have to look at is our mids. Where are our mids? Our mids are our middle points for London and Asia. And so you measure the half, and in this case the half right here, the mid for London is right here, which is right below, okay, maybe about 5 points away from New York value area high. Asia mid is actually stretched out to about 70% of the New York value. So when you look at this here, this mid is actually closer to the bottom than to the top. So when you look at that picture, to me it signifies that it feels to me like the market is kind of stuck. Like the mids, if this mid was closer over here or even outside, I would say that we have more of a chance of it to really push up. But because I see that it's actually stretched out, that means that price has been stretched out, in my opinion. And the idea of New York opening outside above New York value being a true initiative, you gotta be careful with it. Okay. Now the other thing that I looked at is where are our POCs, our point of controls for London and New York. For London, it's right here. Okay, above. Okay, and where's the other one? The other one is right here. All right, kind of at the halfway point, and then we of course have that pink line, which is New York's POC value. So I was a bit on when I looked at this here, and particularly when I saw that this mid here was stretching throughout most of the New York value, I just didn't feel comfortable to treat it like it was an actual repair day or an expansion or initiative. And so I said, okay, we got to look at the last clue of the puzzle, our auction zero. Our prior auction zero is right here. Where is it gonna migrate? Is it gonna migrate a good portion up or a good portion down? Okay, according to where price opened, it should migrate up. Now, the next clue, once migration happened, kind of gave me a confirmation that we weren't going to be on a trend day, on a repair day. It was going to be a rotational day. And I'm going to show you why. So market opened up, and I'm going to go ahead and expand this here. And you'll see, first thing I want you to notice is the actual migration of the auction. It migrated only approximately 13 points, 12 points. It didn't migrate a whole lot. So that was telling me is that there wasn't going to be a whole lot of room for movement, for a true repair, a true expansion. So that long bias, in my opinion, was out the window. Now that doesn't mean we can't trade. Okay, and like I said, this has been a learning process for me. Just recently I discovered this idea here of where I have my auction zero, I put my fib. By the way, how did I get my fib? I measured the distance of London and Asia all together. Okay, if I measure from here to here and say this gives me, I don't know, 200 points, let's just say, then I measure a fib that's 100 points. And from 1 to 0 is 100 points. I put my zero at the auction zero. Okay, so I put a box here that measures 60 points this way, 60 points this direction. Why? Because NASDAQ usually tends to range or rotate or balance itself out before it expands, or when it's on rotational days, about 120 points. So what did I do? I didn't feel comfortable with the movement. I felt like it was going to be a rotational day, and again, it wasn't a true expansion day. What I saw here is I saw movement up, pullback, movement, pullback, movement, pullback, movement, pullback. You'll notice it starts to get a little bit smaller here, the candles. Once I saw that price was coming back in all honesty, I should have taken a trade here. Once price was clearing the 25 and I saw that our EMAs were leading, I should have taken a trade to the zero. I ended up waiting. I waited until I saw price go past the POC here, and I actually think I took the trade right around here, right at the -12. It did give me some drawdown here because of this here, this little reclaim back to the POC, but I knew the POC was a form of resistance, and I targeted the 25, and I got this trade here. Okay, once price came back, hit the 25, now you'll notice the box. Price went outside the box, came back in. Okay, very close to the 25, above the 25, just like here. So the balance was very similar here on both sides. Once price came back to the zero, rejected, came back down to the POC, and I saw that price went over our auction zero once again, accepted above it. I decided to go in on right here at the 12. Once I saw a structure breaking the 12, I targeted the 25. Sure enough, I hit that target there. So those were the two trades that I took. Okay. Now, you'll notice the rest of the session, for the most part, to be honest with you, it ranged from 25 to 25. You can see there, right here a little bit less, and then right here it actually went past it, came back down a couple candles later, came back down almost to the 25 right here, to the VWAP. It did several VWAP mean reversions here. In other words, it attacked the VWAP and it reversed. VWAP reversed, and so on. For me, again, when price opened outside of value, New York value, yes, by definition, it looks like a possible expansion initiative and so on. But that doesn't mean that's automatic. That market's gonna give us right away. No, it would be foolish to think like that. We look at the other context. Where are the mids? Is price outside of the mids? And are the mids outside of New York value? Are they centered? Are they leaking? Are they leaning? Okay, those are all things that you have to consider. Today was, for me, that was just kind of, again, on the EFA side about it, was I saw my New York value here. I saw one mid here, but I saw the other one way down here. That was telling me that price was already stretched, or it seemed to me like that. Okay. So it ended up rotating. Now you'll notice another thing here, another clue here. Where is the rotation going to mainly take place? Well, I mean, from what I can see here, again, this is our value, these are our mids, so it's kind of rotating maybe in the, I guess you can say, the upper portion of it. But in the end, looking at the fib here, looking at the box, I said, you know what, box is close to the 25. Okay, it pretty much, you know, it structure tapped outside of it, came back in, went to the other side of the 25, outside of it, just around VWAP, and then again, notice here went to the box once again. I mean, the box was right on point here. Box once again here, and then it kept getting a little bit smaller, but again, overall, the auction zero. So that was the day. Overall, it was like a fake initiative / rotational day. That's what I would label it as. In the end, it was rotational. Yeah, I mean, there was a little bit of movement here, obviously. If you were going in for a long here, I mean, you got lucky with that one there, tagging that specific level here, which is the previous day high. But that's pretty much it right there for Monday. Like I said, the biggest lesson of the day for me is look at the entire context, look at the entire structure. How is it behaving? You know, how are the candles forming? There's a certain speed and tempo when it's in a trend initiative, and you can almost see the difference between a rotational and a initiative day. Okay, it may have the marking of an initiative day because it opened above value, outside of value, above it. But where are the mids? Are the mids stretched? Are the mids, are they down below to the other extremity of New York value? All right, are the POCs down below as well? We had one POC here, which basically, in my opinion, is when you have one POC and you feel like it's going to be a rotational day, the POC can be used as a support and resistance, at one point, right? Like I said, once price went above here, went above the POC, and it went to the zero and then came back, once it rejects a second or third time, then hey, we're going to go to the other side of the box, right? So again, multiple opportunities. So on a rotational day, you want to go from one extreme to the other, one fade to the other. Again, the box, so 120 point box was a big help too. Visually, I mean, you can see that multiple times it was on point with the actual where the market was hitting and returning. Alright, as always guys, if you like this content, please hit the subscribe, the like button, comment and share. Everything I post is for educational purposes, no financial advice, and we'll see you next time.